What's going up, guys? Back for another quick trade recap video. So, this is the Asia session trade that we took last night to pass all 8 evals. There is a TikTok with the live executions and everything. The whole video, literally starting around here. This candle is where the screen recording starts, and then it just runs all this like that. So, go over the trade real quick, what we were thinking. So I believe we had came down, tapped this 15-minute right here, and I wanted to see higher. Because I wanted to see higher because right here, these lows were protected with SMT. So we had SMT down here, delivering from a higher time frame, obviously, and then delivering from our 15-minute. And so then dropping down to the 1 minute. Should probably be a quicker video because it was just one simple trade. Dropping down to the 1 minute, you can see we're kind of building this market maker buy model. Let's see, where's that tool curve thing? This maybe like that. And oops, like that. So kind of a market maker buy model. You see we're consolidating up here. We manipulate down into a PD array. We create 1 minute SMT right here. You can see we're kind of consolidating, manipulating, and we were building a bunch of just relative equal highs and just LR the whole way down, which is a good sign because that's all the highs that we're gonna run, right? So, obviously you could have held even higher. I didn't need to. I was just passing evals, so I was just targeting 1500. Which you can see 301 ticks with 1 mini. So after we get this 1 minute SMT and we get this displacement candle up, we get a 1 minute CISD where we enter. After that candle closes, we had a beautiful fill. And I took this on my top step accounts as well. And then, yeah, just let it run. Oh, this was my break-even point. I mean, it's an internal high inside of a fair value gap. And you can see 2 times we came down. It was pretty sketchy. I literally started screen recording, right? Because we were up almost 200 ticks. So I started screen recording here. And as soon as I started screen recording, dumped. And as soon as we dumped, I stopped screen recording. And then we flew up again after dumping. We immediately flew up 140 ticks. So I start screen recording again. And then we dump another 130 ticks. And so I stop. And then we displace higher. And that's when I start screen recording. And then we end up just slowly chopping our way up. And then obviously when it took me out of my position, it ended up flying up and taking out everything else. So that was awesome. But yeah, so break even point. And it was a risk-free trade. My game plan was I am a fan of trading Asia, especially recently because it's just been moving so much. Like, this is super clean to me. And like, I'll only take trades if there's PD arrays that are this clean. Like, I mean, this is just too clean. Look at this. This is a huge candle that we displaced into with SMT at the lows that the candle is coming from. So it's like 2 picture perfect for me to skip out on, because if that doesn't hit, I mean, like, then that's a good loss in my opinion. Like, the only thing you could say is it's Asia session, so maybe it's not delivering as well. But so once I went break even, this was my only trade for the night. I told myself if this came back break even, I would be done. I didn't want to force anything because I was 1 day away from passing 8 accounts. And I mean, at one point I was up almost 200 ticks. So I was like, okay, if this doesn't hit, it's not moving well enough for me right now. I don't want any part of it. And this would have been the only clean looking trade to me, in my opinion. 15-minute delivery, SMT at the 15-minute lows. At the 15-minute lows from where the fair value gap is, we have a lot of LR built up that we could take out. We have a beautiful break-even point. So it was just too perfect. We have a huge expansion candle that we get a 1 minute CISD from. It was too A+ for me not to take. Took it, ended up banging. Like I said, if you want to see live executions, that is on my TikTok, same name as my YouTube channel. And I'm not gonna lie, I guess I'll just be honest, which I'm not too worried about because I still have my 5 funded futures. I wasn't able to trade them because They do take a little bit to, it's like end of day to activate. So my Top Step accounts after I took that trade were automatically ready to be activated. And my funded futures were not. So today was pretty bad. I ended up blowing my Top Step accounts. I'm not going to lie, over leveraged, but I will go over why really quick. So overnight, obviously we came down, ran these lows. What did we do? We ended up putting in these relative equal lows, which were my draw on liquidity. Same thing with this one. Those two were my draw on liquidities for the day. That's what I want to see. I was bearish on the day. What did I want to see coming into open? I'm not going to lie. I told myself I wanted to see this high taken, right, inside this 5-minute PD array. But then I looked at it, and it actually was SMT. And so my thought process was, okay, we don't actually need to sweep that. We could see some type of small manipulation up with a good reaction, and we should be bearish. And then we get this 5-minute close below. So technically, ES is highs right here. So technically, it is some type of CISD, because I believe, let's see, if ES got that as well. Like, I guess it depends, but so technically speaking, yeah, that's a 5-minute CISD right here on ES. SMT above, and so then you drop down to the 1 minute for executions. We have this 5-minute SMT inside a 5-minute PD array. We have stacked lows that we could see, and then we have on the 5-minute CISD and ES, and then we also have SMT here on NQ. So my only problem was we kind of created equal highs, like relative, but all these highs right here is SMT. NQ did not, ES didn't come up this high. So we manipulated up, very bearish reaction, right? We get this 1 minute close below, and my thought process was, okay, we'll get in on the gap tap. So then we get in right here, targeting these lows, over leveraged, with 2 minis. Obviously, I shouldn't have, and I honestly, I could have closed my position at any point, right? I didn't set a stop loss because I figured we were going to get some type of reaction down, and then I was going to base it off the wick that was created. This is no excuse, though. I could have 100%. I watched it run to full drawdown to $2,000. So I could have 100% closed at any time that I wanted to. Like, I could have closed here. I could have closed here. I could have saved the accounts, but I was oddly confident in this play. I didn't think after getting all this SMT delivery from 5-minute, a 5-minute CISD, now we have relative equal lows here. We have relative equal lows down here. So great draw on liquidity. I didn't think we were going to dump 260 ticks just to turn around and soar up 700 ticks in the span of 1 minute. I didn't think we were going to do that. By no means should I have over leveraged. That was ridiculous and retarded, and I was super greedy because all I was thinking about was the fact that if I got in here targeting this, I was going to make insane money. Like, I was about to make $4,000 on the first day of my funded accounts. And then my game, I was just telling myself, I was like, boom, I'm going to hit this trade, $4,000, and then the rest of the days I'm going to do $150 days, and then boom, I'm going to get a huge payout. We're done. And I was going to get like a $10,000, $9,000 payout because of this singular day. Obviously, went against me super strong. And I just watched it run to my drawdown, which kind of sucks because even if I would have taken myself out at any time in here and just saved myself, I could have re-entered because obviously my bearish bias was correct. My draw on liquidities were correct. I could have made money if I had waited, right? So this was my initial where I wanted to enter, right? So if I would have entered here, I still would have got fucking stopped out, 100%, because even with 1 mini, that is $1,000. Even with 5 micros, that's still $500. So that's still ridiculous. And what makes me mad too is we're not really delivering from anything, right? So if we would have got a perfect turtle soup at this high, that would have been the peak entry because we're at least inside a 5 minute, right? And it's pretty clean price action, right? But instead, we come up another 245 ticks from the high of this wick, and what do? We just put in another relative equal high. And ES does the same thing. ES comes up and sweeps, and like it just leaves another high that's stacked in all of this. So that was truly odd to me because at that point, like, why did we not sweep everything else, create a little bit cleaner price action, right? But we didn't. So I mean, I was already done by then. I can't use my MyFunded Futures accounts yet till tonight. I think at 6 p.m. it's end of day they will activate them, which is awesome. And I mean, here's a good thing that comes out of this with my trade copier. I had to have my MyFunded Futures on one screen and my Top Step X on the other screen. So it's kind of annoying having to enter on both. By no means does that mean I wish that I'd blown these. I'm so stupid to do that. I mean, I hit a perfect trade last night, taking trades on both. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, I mean, price action was weird. I was so stupid and greedy. What I wish would have happened, right, is instead of dumping 270 ticks, I wish we got a close relatively up here, right? Because this is still a great reaction. Very bearish reaction. And then if we get a close like right here, I could enter with this being my break even. And so even if we come down here and create relative equal lows, I'm break even. It's a risk-free trade. If it comes up and taps me like this and I see it soar 700 ticks, I can reevaluate and make my next move. But it came down, swept everything, and then moved up. So, I mean, I don't know. Truly unfortunate. It was the fastest I've ever blown accounts in my life. It was literally like the first 15 seconds of this candle were just straight ripping, and I just watched the P&L absolutely dump. So that was unfortunate. It's a saving grace that I don't have my MyFunded Futures yet. At that point, I'm not sure if I would have taken 2 minis. I can't even believe I did. Like before the trade, I was kind of calculating everything, and I was kind of messing with, like on Top Step X, how the contracts, the amount of contracts and like enter buttons are over here on the right side of the screen. I was kind of messing with it, and I was like 1 2 1 2, what should I do, what should I do? Ended up going 2. I was pretty confident in this trade, and now looking at it hindsight, price action wasn't super clean or clear. In a sense, we were entering off a lot of chop. So even though we had SMT with a little manipulation at open, and the manipulation did play out, like this is the Judas swing, then boom, we dumped down. This long would have been cleaner if we took this, right? If we took this and created SMT, that long would have been pretty nice. I mean, we're still leaving another draw on liquidity for me, to be honest, because I was bearish, but it would have been a little bit cleaner of a day at that point. But yeah, super ridiculous. So basically a win and a loss, right? We have 5 more accounts that we don't need to activate, so no activation fee, which honestly from all this, that's the biggest problem, is literally an hour ago I activated 3 Top Step accounts, so $450, and I lost it 2 minutes into market open. So I was basically like going to Vegas and putting $450 on the slot machine or something and just losing it in 2 minutes. That's the only problem I have with this. I think this is kind of like a rude awakening, even though my trading has been a rude awakening for like the last 3 months. Considering last week I was 1 day away from a payout and I blew all those. So I don't know what's wrong with me, but we're dialed in. I will never trade with 2 minis again. Mark my words, I will never trade with 2 minis again. The only way I will do that is, listen, all right, if I get a payout from my MyFunded Futures accounts and then I see a beautiful A+ trade and I enter with 1 mini, right? If I enter with 1 mini and we get like a very great reaction, like, I don't know what would like give us reasoning to do so, but to average in, right? If we get a crazy, beautiful reaction and I can add another con in, and this is after a payout, right? So I've already secured a payout. The accounts are paid for. I've made all my money back plus some, and I can average in another contract and make even more money so that my next payout's even larger or something like that. I'd be cool with that. But besides that, I will never be trading with a mini again, or 2 minis. But yeah, so this is a loss on an over leveraged play with a perfect draw on liquidity, and I was about 2 minutes early. So with that being said, that's it for this video. It's a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.